Do you ever lift your head up from your phone, look around, and think to yourself, my God, everything is weird? Well, we do. A lot. This is the Observation Station, a unique, entertaining, and hilarious podcast. If we observe it, we talk about it. Anything and everything. Anything and everything. Let's get weird and let's have some fun. This is the Observation Station. And now your host, Tommy Heights.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Observation Station. I'm your host, Tommy Heights, and today we're diving headfirst into a question that's probably crossed all of our minds at some point. What would aliens think of us? Now, I know it sounds wild, right? I mean, aliens might just be the ultimate mystery, the biggest what if in all of science. So, sci-fi aside, what if they were out there watching us? You know, observing all the weird and wonderful stuff that we do on Earth. What would they actually think of humanity? So grab a seat, settle in, because today we're going in an intergalactic mind trip to see ourselves through the eyes of a species that's totally out of this world. So first up, let's set the stage here, getting to know the aliens. We're not just talking about any aliens here. I mean, imagine these beings are advanced enough to either find us or, they'd be baffled at how we communicate. They would try to see like what our art is, our science. Would they be more curious about our day-to-day lives? So a lot of scientists, they have kind of made predictions about what they would look like and things of that nature, but we really obviously don't know what it's supposed to sound like, or, you know, see or sound or whatever they are. We just think they're just green crazy, slimy creatures. That's really all that we know about them. So we'd be baffled. I mean, how would we communicate? Would they just be like trying to do sign language with us and making sounds? Who knows? So a lot of people are thinking this is an intelligent extraterrestrial life, and they'd be super advanced, maybe even millions of years ahead of us. So that means they might not even have physical forms like we think they do. Instead, they might exist as pure energy or consciousness. So, I mean, really, who knows? And maybe they're a mix of biology and technology, totally integrated with their machines. So here's the kicker. If they're that advanced, they'd likely have ways to observe us that we can't even imagine. Maybe they're picking up our radio waves, watching our TV shows from light years away. Or, I mean, in the more far-out theories, maybe they can tap into our internet. Imagine being an alien, binge-watching our social media feed. If you're going to be having it where that's going to be something that they do, I don't know if that'll be the best thing to do, but it is what it is. So, if they did tune in, what would they see? Earth through alien eyes. They might think we're incredibly contradictory. Think about it. I mean, they see about this technology-capable species that we are as humans, and that can communicate with each other around the world in seconds, launching rockets into space, mapping the human genome. But then they'd also see us doing some pretty bizarre things. Take our love for celebrities, for example. Aliens would probably be scratching their heads, if they even have heads, at our obsession with fame. They might think, these humans seem to worship other humans who pretend to be other humans in their films or songs. Would they understand why we spend billions every year on celebrity culture, or would they make us seem shallow and odd? What about the way we treat our planet? Aliens might be baffled by the fact that we know how to preserve our environment, and yet we are also contributing to pollution and deforestation. From their perspective, it could seem downright illogical, like setting fire to your own house for a short-term thrill. Or maybe they'd just be sad for us, like, oh, these poor beings haven't figured it out yet, you know? So there's a bunch of oddities of human culture where it's like, let's get into the truly weird stuff, like, you know, sports. If you think about it, Sports must seem absolutely bizarre to an outsider. Picture aliens observing football or rugby for the first time. They see a bunch of guys running after a ball, tackling each other with thousands of fans cheering on the sidelines. They might wonder, is this some form of ritual combat? Or take reality TV shows where we put people in the situations just to watch them argue or compete, like The View. Aliens would be watching this and thinking, why do they spend so much time and energy on these scenarios? Is there a deeper purpose we're not seeing? And maybe they think we have a fascination with conflict or drama that we can't satisfy in our everyday lives. In food culture, the range of our diets would probably fascinate and confuse them. Some people eat bugs, others don't touch meat. And then we have things like hot dogs and cheeseburgers. They might see the fast food culture and ask why we eat things we know aren't great for us, and why some countries have so much food while others don't even have as many and they're impoverished. So there's a lot of things that are contradictory, which somebody from up above would say, well, what's going on and why is there disparity? So the good stuff is our creativity and curiosity. Here's why things might start to make more sense to them. If aliens looked at our art, the music, our literature, basically all the ways that humans try to express themselves, they'd get a real glimpse into our deeper nature. They'd see a species that constantly is questioning its own existence, who paints, writes, and makes music to explore what it means to be alive. Consider the sheer variety of human creativity, from a classical music to street art, sci-fi novels to abstract art. They'd probably see that creativity is our way of reaching for something beyond ourselves. Even if we're not quite sure what that something is, maybe they'd be impressed, or maybe they'd recognize that some curiosity is inside of themselves. In fact, they'd probably notice how curiosity drives a lot of what we do. Humans have this intense need to explore, whether it's the depths of the ocean or far reaches of space. We constantly are pushing the boundaries. This is just like, what it is that we need to do. It resonates with us to keep going. And an intelligent alien species, after all, they've traveled across galaxies. They've probably get that drive, right? So lots of different things with the aliens. They make it where it's like, okay, we see them in movies and whatnot, like I'm mentioning, but why have it where, you figure it like, okay, what is it that we need to do as humans to maybe attract them to come down? Because what you see on TV is not going to have it where they're going to be wanting to come to probably the world right now. There's a lot of stuff out there you can see on social media, and if I was an alien, would not want to have it where I'm coming over to the world right as it stands right now. So, of course, there's no way around the fact that they'd find some aspects of humanity pretty disturbing. Our history of wars, for instance, might seem senseless to them. Aliens could struggle to understand why we divide ourselves along the lines of a nation, race, religion, ideology, especially when it causes so much pain and suffering. To a highly advanced species, things like prejudice and conflict might seem like a behavior of a young civilization still figuring itself out. They might wonder, why haven't we moved past these issues already? Especially with all the knowledge and technology that's available at our fingertips nowadays, you'd think they'd see it as a natural part of growing up as a species, something, they went through also. So we're looking at ourselves as so advanced, but we haven't really factored in the greater powers or extraterrestrial beings out there. We call them aliens because that's just kind of what a being is that's just kind of out there, and we don't really know who they are. It just seems like, when you say it seems alien to me or something like that. But they probably take a look and say, yeah, these guys got a lot of growing up to do. So they might analyze things like, would they think that we're reaching out to our full potential? taking all of this in, the good, the bad, and the ugly, it's totally baffling to somebody maybe from the outside. And they would think that we're aliens, Would they think we're reaching out to them to have help? Or, it's a tough call. On one hand, they might be curious about us, just as we're curious about them. We've got potential. They'd see it. We're capable of empathy, innovation, and even wisdom. But they might also see that we have, like I said, a lot of growing up to do, and they'd realize that while we've achieved some amazing things, we're also held back by things like greed, short-sightedness, and divisions. Maybe they'd be cautious, waiting to see about the evolution of our species as humans that values unity and respect for each other and our planet. So in the end, aliens might even decide that we're such a work in progress, messy, contradictory, and it doesn't even make sense to visit. But maybe that makes us just worth watching for them. So, hey, that's a wrap on today's episode. If you ever want to find yourself looking at the stars, wondering if someone's out there watching, well, who knows? Maybe they're just as curious about us as we are about them. Next episode, I'm going to be having my first guest. We're bringing in Larry Rubin from SwipeIt.com, the one and only gift card guru. Larry's the go-to expert in the gift card industry, and he's got insights you won't want to miss. We'll be talking about everything from the secrets behind those little plastic cards to the future of digital gifting and how businesses are using gift cards in ways you'd never expect. Trust me, you're going to look at gift cards in a whole new way. Until then, keep asking questions, stay curious, and we'll catch you right here next time. This is Tommy Heights signing off.
You've been listening to The Observation Station. We find everyday life and everyday situations hilarious. We hope you've enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, rate, and review. And be sure to tell a friend about the show. That would help too. See you next time on The Observation Station.